and colleague Senzi Bengu, and I'm going to ask Senzi, I think she's just arrived in studio, to come on with me. Our apologies for arriving here late. Senzi, are you here? Please unmute your mic and say hello.
Hello, I am here.
Yes, we finally made it, and I see we have some viewers online. To the people that know Senzi and know in such a time as this, our apologies. This is a show that's been created in the midst of COVID-19 during the pandemic last year. We started around about March 2020. We did one show for this year in February. We thought we'd come back, but as it is, life didn't happen like we planned. But we're back in June, and I'm so excited to have you, Senzi Bengu, in studio with me to launch Youth Month. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling good. Honored. Thank you for having me.
Yes, so thank you for being here. Let me just say to those of you that have come on with us and you know a little bit about the show, last year when things seemed all so crazy, many people had to pivot. In such a time as this was one of those innovations. And together with a very innovative, if I may say, quite an amazing person, Seth Naicker, we came up with this idea to say, let's pivot and make it happen. Senzi is smiling because I think she's heard a lot about Marisha. What have you heard about Marisha, by the way, Senzi?
I've heard that she's amazing. She's a better half.
Yeah, so, but we're also grateful for our partners in an organization called Heartlines, and also partners like Columba Leadership Trust that are youth organizations that work. Heartlines itself does youth work, but also works across NGOs and FPOs and even corporate spaces. And today, amongst all of the other organizations that we work with, we have Senzi Bengu, who is the founder of Kwasukasukela and Oakford Blinders Football Club. I just love that. And an entrepreneur from Oakford, KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa. Senzi, before we get anywhere to your story and I learned something about you, please just tell us a little bit about these organizations that you are a part of.
So I will start with Oakford Blinders Football Club. So I am part of the management team of 6. We are a new football club, just started in 2019. We have 4 divisions, under 11, under 13, under 15, and under 17 boys, and we are on fire. So Oakford did not have a football club before, and this amazing guy, Mbelo Gumbi, came up with the idea, and now we're a team doing amazing stuff. Kwasukasukela Foundation, co-founded with my sister, is an NGO that focuses on gender-based violence, but works with kids and tries to teach issues around gender and gender roles in a fun kind of storytelling way. Hence the name Kwasukasukela, which is from isiZulu. When you tell a story, you say Kwasukasukela.
How you like that? On What's Your Story, we are Kwasukasukela. I love it. I love it. And let me say this just at the get-go. If ever you need somebody to come down and coach and hang out with your footballers at Oakford, I'm not the best at the game, but man, I'd love to kick a ball around with those young fellas. And it just, that's another passion on its own, and we must talk about that. But friends, here we are. I'm going to stop some screen sharing because we have her in the studio. You see her with me. And we just want to spend a moment. Let me take a moment to do like we do on the show. Those of you that remember, in a true African leadership style, we must honor the people that we are with. So I want to just take a moment right now to tell you about the profile of this professional community person that is with us, Senzi, aka Senzi Bengu. She's a teacher, a co-founder of Kwasukasukela Foundation. She's the manager of Oakford Blinders Football Club and also an entrepreneur. Today, by way of us knowing, she is known as a mover and agent of change. She's a recipient of numerous prestigious scholarships nationally and globally. Maybe she'll tell us a little about that as well. I'm not so sure. She has used her exposure and passion for community work to co-found Kwasukasukela Foundation and in the football work that she's involved in. Through her coaching, teaching, and mentorship, she has changed the lives of Oakford village and community at large. Now, the test would be to ask Oakford villagers if that has happened. But anyway, that's what it says. She is breaking cycles of poverty and redefining community service. Senzi Bengu, a quotable quote of her own. Change takes time, but it starts now in small steps, then big victories. Senzi, I'm honored to have you on the show. I want to pick it up right there when we think about, who you are. And if I may ask, why are you doing what you're doing with this focus on young people? And I love it because it's Inside Youth Month. Why are you doing what you're doing? What's the passion that drives you?
The main one is that it was also done for me. I think after I graduated from Rhodes University in 2017, and just reflecting on my life, I realized there's so many people along the way, from my teachers to people in my village to like amazing scholarships that I've been part of, that have come together to ensure that I am the person that I am, that have given me these opportunities. So I thought, if I can turn out like this through their support, imagine if I could also give back. How many people from a similar background, from my tiny village, can also tell a similar story? So that's what motivated me, kind of just saying, it was done for me, I need to pay it back and do it for other people as well.
Wow, thank you for that. And I just want to say thank you for making a connection. Those of you that are Rhodes University graduates out there, can I get a whoop whoop? So yeah, and I'm sure that there'll be some other name dropping going on. But those of you that know, we have mobilized around the country, and it's been my honor. Man, it's been almost 7 years now where we've been doing a project called What's Your Story? And this piece of work has been anchored by this organization, Heartlines. Today, because of the Wi-Fi and so on, I'm just going to cut away from playing videos because I don't want to take any chance and risk right now. And if it holds out, I possibly will bring in one later. But for this moment, in light of WYS, hashtag What's Your Story, WYS around the country, today we want to take a moment to hear about the story of Sinan Shashla. She's taken some time to prepare highlights of what she thinks to be important. So in the next, say 3 to 4 minutes, we want to listen. Now, as a practitioner in narrative work and storytelling and story and using the story approach, we know to ask, we then listen, and then we tell. So in a way, we have invited Senzi to come on board within such a time as this for this, as we begin Youth Month. And alongside this idea around the country, even in the work that she's doing at Kwasukasukela, they are using story, the power of who we are. Here's a quotable quote that I like, Senzi, and I've already used it with you when we were at Columba. Brene Brown says to us, and I'll paraphrase, that we either stand out, let me get it again. We either embrace our story or stand outside our story and hustle for our worthiness. So with those few words, we've asked you to prepare for us. Now, whoever's here online and whoever hears the resource, let's hear the story of quite a youthful entrepreneur, a co-founder of a foundation, and someone who's passionate about soccer and development. Let's take a moment to listen to the story of Sinan Shashla Bengu. If you're out there, can I get some digital rounds of applause? Over to you.
I think the best way to tell my story will be in terms of turning points. And I think I'll just focus on 3. The first turning point in my life was when my father passed away. This was in 2009, and my mother was unemployed with 3 daughters. I'm the middle child, and she had to take care of us. It was a very tough time, but also a time that taught me a lot about Ubuntu, because being from a small village and seeing the community come in every day to check in on my mom, to see if we had food, it really taught me a lot about the importance of community, the importance of giving back also when you have, because I know my mom, she was such a giver, and now the community was also there at her time of need to give to her as well. The second turning point.
Before we continue, so I just want to say to you, as we get to move from that space of what was given to you and now as you think about it, please just check on your audio. I hope it's just the buffering, but make sure that you're not moving your mic too much, because I think we're losing you in certain moments. But also a quick shout out from Nicole Kalongo Chilombo, as well as Chris Seni. They all here online with us, and whoever else is with us, please share the thread. You can become a host right now. So back to you as you continue your sharing.
Can you hear me? Is it a bit better now? So the second turning point in my life probably happened when I graduated, and then I was thinking about my line of work and my career, as most people. And initially, I thought I was going to go into corporate because my background was in economics. I studied a Bachelor of Business Science. And when I went into corporate, I really felt just out of place, to be honest. I felt I wasn't aligned with what I was passionate about, that my work wasn't as fulfilling as I thought. And I think that's what drove me into community work, kind of following in the past years what has made me come alive. And I started remembering years when I used to teach at school and years where I used to participate in volunteering stuff, and decided now I want to study a master's, but focusing on development, not just corporate economics or financial economics, but focusing on development economics, because that's where my passion is at. So that was a turning point for me as well. And I was fortunate to get a scholarship to study in Ireland, which is now my last turning point, when I finished the master's, and I had to decide whether I stay abroad or sort of come back. And for me, the decision was mainly, again, driven by my journey and reflecting on it and saying, I have been given all these opportunities because someone believed in me that I could make a change, not just in my community, but to South Africa, which is a huge responsibility. And I remember saying to one of my friends, I want to give this a shot now in my prime, while I'm in my 20s. So if I could ever make a change in the lives of South Africans, I want to give it a try now while I'm in my 20s. So I decided to come back. And now here I am doing this amazing work with amazing people. Kwasukasukela was started by then when I left to go to Ireland, but the football club, I wasn't part of it as yet. It's something that I've joined now that I came back, saying, what is happening in my community? What skills do I have? How can I also contribute to grow it and make it bigger?
Wow, thank you for that. And again, we apologize if the glitches are happening with the buffering. We're living in a time of HCOM, and actually, while it is hectic for us here in South Africa and it's become much more a reality of our lives, across Africa, our brothers and sisters are having to cope with that. So I guess we also got to learn now how to adapt. And one of the ways is possibly get into solar energy or buy yourself one of these pads that get you sorted. I'm working now on all pre-charged equipment, but there's sounds all around us, alarms going off and you name it. So this is life. But one of the things that I like about what you just said was the choice to return and give it a go in your 20s. And as we think about Youth Month, out of your story and your passion now to serve where you are in the Oakford community, what has become, if I may say, your thought concept and leadership way of being as you think about young people and youth in our country?
So I would say my concept has been, firstly, just immersing myself in my surroundings and starting from like where I would say, an advantage. I say that to people, I say, if I look at my community and where I could lead and where I could start, in my community, I have that level of advantage because I've grown up here. I'm familiar with the area. I'm familiar with the people. So this would be the easiest space for me to actually start. And I think in my quotes as well that I shared, not overwhelming myself and saying, hey, I'm going to move everybody out of here and we're all going to be fine, but saying, what are the small things that I can do that will hopefully inspire others and build this momentum where they also sort of follow, which for me, I guess, is what a leader is mostly about, saying you being the brave one to actually start and do whatever that small bit is, and then inspiring others to join in and say, how can we also follow and make this a little bit bigger? Yeah.
Wow. So small steps and then big victories.
Yes.
Part of our thought leadership segment right now is also to think critically. And critical thinking is important. So if you're a young person out there, or a youth worker out there, or a young adult out there, can you imagine leading and learning and living, loving and leaving a legacy utilizing questions? For some of us, education, Senzi, and more especially as we think Youth Month, there was a happening in the 1970s where many children made a stand to, together with, I believe, some adults who may have been in the background, address the irregularities of an education system that was kind of downloading into your brain and training you to be without any ambition, without any provision for your vision and mission, for your understanding. So when we think about critical education today and your critical thoughts, what are some of the critical questions that you are asking yourself and others as you do your development work for young people and the community of Oakford? Please unmute your mic as you come back in.
So I think for me, one of the critical questions, I'd say questions are, where is the role of the young person in South Africa? That for me is one of the questions. Like, where can young people shine? Where can they contribute? What can they do? I think we are all aware of the state of the country and everything that is happening. And sometimes it's so demotivating and bleak. And you wonder as a young person, well, with an unemployment rate for young people over 50%, what can I do? Like, where is my role? What does my future look like? And I think young people would need to answer that for other young people, inspire other young people to find the answer to that. And if the role is not there, how can we create it? If it is, how can we make people aware that these are the opportunities that are out there for us young people? Let's go grab them. If there isn't, how can we create them for other young people that are out there? The next critical question for me is, how can you own your story as you enter new spaces, which is something that I've also kind of had to battle with, saying you enter spaces of privilege, moving from a small village, going to a university, moving from a small village, going to a corporate company, moving from a small village, going abroad to a foreign country. How do you own your space and be authentic and shine and be present and be there in spaces like that? So yeah, those are the two ones for me that I'm still engaging with. Where's the space for young people in this country? How can we create it if it's not there? And how can we own our stories as we enter spaces of privilege and show up authentically and say, hey, I'm also here. I can also contribute something. I'm not ashamed. I'm also here with my background.
I love it. I mean, and a critical question would ask maybe would be for people to think about, even when they hear us and they see us. And I don't know about you, but the more that we get profiled as educated people, speaking a certain way, people may disassociate us from the beginnings of where we've come from. And I always like to say to people, there could have been, in my context, many South African, as I would like to describe myself, African Indian males having the opportunities that I have. I'm not some superstar, because that's the other reality of living in a racialized South Africa. When you get to whatever seems to be some ways of means, people want to put like, a kind of cherry on the top on you and like, look at you, look at you. But it always, I always got to remind myself that which I've had access to, what meaning can I bring? And can I take it home to my mom, my dad? Can I take it home to my soul buddies, my soul people? And how do you, if I may ask you, how do you manage that? Because here you are, you came out of this village, and I've seen, because I've journeyed with you some bit, I've seen that real village, the picture where you told me, this group of people are my villagers, not like, the conceptual, I'm part of the village, but it's an actual village where you grew up in KwaZulu-Natal, and then these experiences become yours. But how do you then make sure your voice, who you are, remains in solidarity with the people that you have grown up with and come from, while moving in a world that will capture you? Sorry to use that terminology again, but you could get captured and raptured inside success, inside the world of the haves, and leave aside the have-nots. So what do you have to say to youth and youth practitioners out there, and community workers and corporate leaders? Senzi, give us your critical consciousness.
I would say, I wish I had a perfect way of putting it, but almost as a human being, I think we tend to exaggerate our own importance to existence, when most of the time we are just like a tiny piece in a very big puzzle. So that has helped me quite a lot to say, whatever that I do, I'm just a tiny piece in a bigger puzzle. And honestly, I've struggled, like with my family. You leave, you go to university, you get exposed to a lot of things, and then you come back and you're this completely different person. And your mom goes, why did I send you to university if I knew you're going to come back this feminist / socialist, now challenging all of the rules of the house? So by understanding that, okay, you know what, I've experienced this and this is how it has shaped you, reflecting and having that perspective and saying, I want to do these sort of things, but I need to first acknowledge that other people have not had the same experience that I have had. I did not just wake up woke. I went through a particular life-changing experience that made me who I am. My mom has not had that. So I cannot expect her to meet me at the same level and suddenly understand all of the lingo and things that I'm talking about. And saying as well, I may want to solve a particular problem. Like even in my village, when we're speaking about things of gender, for example, I may want to solve this problem and have a particular perspective, but I may also be so distant, so removed because of all that I've, all my traveling and being away, that I may not be the best person. So saying, how can I identify now the best person who understands this problem? Because my experiences have shifted me. I'm no longer, in sync with everyone else as I used to be. I want to help, but now there is that, imbalance. So I'm not connecting as well. So how can, through identifying people who better understand the problem and are willing as well to listen and work with me, better solve it. So it's hard, especially the part about your experiences are your experiences. They're not suddenly everyone else's experiences. So understand people when sometimes they resist your new ideas because they haven't had the same exposure. So they're not going to suddenly just start buying in. It won't happen. So either you're going to be really frustrated if you don't have that perspective and say, you know what, I'm giving up, I'm packing my bags, I'm leaving this village, no one gets me, bye-bye. Or if you have the perspective, you can go, okay, what has shifted here? What has changed? And for me, the key thing was I have left, I've been exposed to certain things, and now I've come back, and now I'm different. Everyone else maybe is still on the same level, but now I'm different. So how can now I deal and still be an amazing community member but still also remain, I guess, true to my experiences and share, but not in a judgmental way now, not share in a, oh, I'm better than all of you because this is what I've been exposed to, but more like, did you know that there's also another perspective of this? Hey, you know, I've left and I've seen this other side now. Did you know that this other side is also there? Yeah.
Wow, you know, don't overstate your importance. I'm paraphrasing now the Honorable Senzi Bengu. And if you heard it here first, there are many people out there saying they woke this, they lit that. She said it right here. If I can say it like hotcakes, varam patatas. She said it, yes. She didn't wake up woke. Something happens to our wokeness, or that we arrive at the place of wokeness. Well, I see that we've got Chris Seni online, and he seems to be quite excited about you. And Chris is saying, what has been the greatest obstacle in your community? And as you prep that answer, I also want to acknowledge David Yost, who many years ago worked with me on an album, or well, I should say a musical production for an organization known as Youth for Christ, with the group or the team called iThemba. So David Yost, please help the thread along and share it in the US. But let's get to Chris Seni's question. What has been the greatest obstacle for you in your community? And then also think about it. How do you propel your community where it is inside Oakford in KwaZulu-Natal and give people this access or live for this future focus?
Just a shout out to Christi. She's my mom. Hi, mom.
Oh, Chris, mom. I'm calling you like mom, like it's Chris, mom. Please, mom, forgive us, mom. This is her mother asking the questions. Mother, you shouldn't be here. You should know the answers to these questions. So that's Chris. So Christine is your mom.
Yes.
This is the mother that brought you up.
No. I'm almost like her adopted daughter. We have a beautiful story, but she's my mom. Yeah.
Beautiful. So Christine, maybe we need to have you online at one given time about your story and your connection to Senzi Bengu. Okay, so Senzi, back to that question. What has been the greatest obstacle in your community? And as you come out of that answer, please think about, how do we turn on our eyes, and how are you doing that with a future focus, especially around issues of sustainability and creating equitable development? Oh, I hope that she's still online, or have we lost her? Well, let me see if we can. Oh, there we are. You back?
Yes, I'm back.
Beautiful. Back to you.
So I think I got the first question right, but I'll come back to how we can turn our eyes. The biggest obstacle in my community is definitely access to services. Just short history of the community. It was built by Dominican nuns. So a long time ago, I think this is in the 1800s, might be wrong, cut over 100 years ago, they built this community called Oakford. They came here, they had plantations all around, and then they built many villages close to their plantations. So my village is one of those. We were next to the lychees and the nuts. So that the people who lived there used to guard the plantations. So when the nuns eventually left, after building the schools and the churches, the villages were supposed to be moved because of where they were located, access to water, access to electricity. So those are the main issues that we face. And now, because of, I would just say we all know the politics of South Africa. The projects to move us have been delayed over and over, and the roads obviously deteriorate over time. And just getting an ambulance in is such a struggle when it's rained, because we don't have a tar road. We just have like gravel roads. So even getting the water truck in to fill our Jojo tanks becomes such a struggle. And I'm so grateful because we are such a united community that if we have to march to the councillor's office, we've all gathered and say, hey, we're going to the councillor's office to complain now about the roads. If they could help, maybe fix it, send a truck. That's probably the biggest challenge that we face. Service delivery. And I think I missed the second question because of the cut.
No, that's not to worry. And I just want to pick up there. For those of us that are in South Africa today, wherever we're signing in and around the world, as Sinan Shashla mentions it so humbly, the reality is that even in our own country, while there's been so much that we're grateful for, there still remain communities that are dislocated even by way of infrastructure. And these are things that we need to be mindful of. It's easy to sit in a suburban area like I'm in, so-called middle-class lifestyle, because even that needs to be further critiqued in our country. But there is a reality. And the latest stats just tell me that within COVID-19, we even gone up to 70% of unemployment amongst youth. These are young people that have graduated from high school, most of which have tried their hand at some tertiary education. So let me just say, Senzi, we just wanna celebrate you right now. Youth Month, celebrating young people. I mean, you're not a young person anymore like you were when you were in high school, but we want to remain true to our constitutional rights. When you're 0 to 35, which I am not any longer, you are still categorized as youth, or let me say youthful and young adults. So we want to just say thank you for taking the time to tell your story. For those of you that have come online, we're here online with Senzi Bengu. We want to close out with one focus. And the lights are back. How's that?
It's come.
Apologies. It looks like I got bumped out for a second or two. Sinan Shashla, are you back?
Yes, I'm still here.
Yeah, I was just busy celebrating HCOM and look. So let me just make sure that we are still live. Yeah, I see we're still live. As we turn to our future focus, because that's what we're gonna close with. As we get to that place of future focus, let me turn to this video by Heartlines and What's Your Story? Thinking about the power of story to make connections that can help us along our way. So let's check this out. And those of you that are coming online or just came online, we are in studio in such a time as this with Sinan Bengu. And the video I want to go to is right here. For some of you may have seen it before, but I've used this around the country in a beautiful campaign where we've reached, if I may say, 80 to 100,000 people in person-to-person encountering around the power of their story. Check this out.
The world moves fast around us. Sometimes it feels like a blur. We pass each other and make judgments of each other constantly. You're doing it right now, seeing this woman across the street. We cross and recross, but rarely connect. We struggle to understand each other, so we don't trust each other. I know your name, but I don't know who you are. You know my name, but do you know my story? What would help us see beyond our perceptions? Story. Our stories are what make us human. Stories have the power to overcome our perceptions. Sharing a story isn't hard. It's a simple human act, connecting us deeper to people we already know. Reach out, ask, invite, then listen. Truly listen. Stories have the power to overcome our perceptions. They help us understand. Ask, listen, tell. It's our way of building our nation. Heartlines has developed resources to help you on this journey. These resources will empower you to build understanding, trust, and reconciliation through personal storytelling. Imagine if we were part of a powerful wave of change, one story at a time.
Imagine if we were a part of this movement, one story at a time. Today we are in studio with Senzi Bengu, and as we close out, Senzi, please utilize that video and the power of story to talk to us about your hopes and your thinking around a future focus as we utilize our skills and our tools of trade to do what we can to build an equitable and just focus in South Africa. Are you there, Senzi? Yes, please unmute your mic. Thank you.
Yes, I'm here. Can you see me?
Yes.
So my hopes really for the future is that young people start realizing that they have more to give than they think. I always tell people, when you're wondering what you can do for others, trust me, there is something. Even if it's going back to your school and speaking about your university experience, we all have something to give, no matter how small. And those small little efforts will all add up into some big change. So that's my hope, to say, all of us in our capacity, no matter how small, we can start to say, I'm going to give my small bit, and my small bit is going to add up with other people's small bits, and it will result in a big change.
I love it. It's as simple as that. I mean, we know it's complex. We know that there's so much out there. Please don't disappear just yet. I want to close off with you in style. It's our first show back in June, and we're going to be coming back. Senzi, I hope you enjoyed yourself tonight. Sorry for all the difficulties with the connecting. And those of you that have come back onto the thread, we're going to keep coming back throughout June and July and August. In June, our focus is on Youth Month. In July, we're going to focus on men. In August, we're going to focus on women. But the idea is to continue to have conversational story sharing, and we'll bring around some amazing people from South Africa and possibly around the world in conversational storytelling that helps us to think through what we can do to make a difference. Not just a difference to keep the status quo, but can you imagine making a difference that shakes up, like Senzi would like to say, that shakes up the reality. And even if you need to be a social justice freak, why don't you? So Senzi, your closing words as we say goodbye, and then I got something special for us to groove to.
My closing words, which I think I shared with you in song: shine in that corner where you are. Shine. Shine in that corner where you are. Shine in that corner where you are.
Shine in the corner where you
where
are.
you are. Shine in that corner where you are.
I love it. So as we shine in the corner, you got to know who we are and who you are. And one of my favorite artists in the arena of critical hip hop and poetry is Amos Marad. I'm hoping that he'll join us on one of the shows. He's from Chicago, South Side, and now he lives in Canada. And I have the release of his music to utilize it. So for any disclaimers and IP stuff, he's a part of it. So enjoy this piece of music with Amos Marad. As we close out our first show in the Youth Month, online, an awesome time with Bengu. And Bengu, bring on your groove right there as we just party on out on a Friday night. Was a weekend for all the right reasons.
Yeah, created and made for such a time as this. No more questions about my purpose, ain't it obvious? The time say right is wrong, do the opposite. Is there anybody righteous doing music? Now these days, righteous ways are even twisted. We had ambassadors of truth, but they missed it. Drink the Kool-Aid raw to turn the misfits. On the war tour, what you doing that for? We can't ignore no more the sick and the poor. When there's people in need, that's right outside our door. Call to come out just to go back in again. So people never see the sun before they life end. No compromising major profits of the time now. We slowed it down and put the soul back in it now. Jump around being crunk, Joe, that's out of here. Trying to sound industry, out of here. In the game just for dough, brother, out of here. No doubt you are, it's timeless and we ain't going out. Yeah, you are, we ain't going out.
That's
this
right.
Is timeless, y'all.
We ain't
never
going out. We gotta keep this going on. It's June month, and in such a time as this, I'm so grateful for my colleagues, Senzi Bengu, that come and share with us a bit of our story. Please keep coming back. We should be here a few times during this month, but at least every Friday, for the next Friday, we are going to be hosting the show.
Represent
So
the
come on by,
untalented
join in
9-10, so
this
it's heaven
conversation,
sent. Mind baffling
and let's
logic,
keep
oasis in the
moving along.
desert, blossoms in the
And
streets.
think
How
about what
often
we
do
can
we
do
get a
to
chance to
become
put
better.
faith to feet? Align our occupations with our basic beliefs. Choice and hesitation, but purpose was calling me now to fuel the labor for my people's harvesting. Caught up in the cycle, hustling and bustling.